I'm going to be having a 5-day weekend this upcoming weekend, and that truly is the only thing that's getting me through this next week, is just knowing a 5-day weekend. Yes, please. I feel like that should be should be standard, right? Should it not? Anyways, it is already September TBR time. That's wild. Especially if I look back on my August TBR, I've read a singular book off of it. However, more importantly, my slump has been busted. I cannot wait to talk about some of the books that have busted my slump that I read in August. If you guys know, I have been in the worst reading slump of my entire life for like 3 months now, and I finally feel like I'm back on track. So I'm really excited about a lot of these books that I put down in my September TBR. I think I only have 2 new releases and then just like a bunch of other books. So yeah, really no rhyme or reason to a lot of them. Just again, now I'm really just gonna follow where my mood is going, because now that I'm kind of like back in it, I just want to keep that momentum going again. So first up, of course, even though I think this comes out this week at some point, but I'm putting it on September just so that way like I can feel accomplished if I like finish it in September, that then I can already check one off. And that is Madness by Chantal Tessier. So this is the 6th book in the Lord series, and this is the second one, like kind of following the carnage, or not, is it the carnage type area of it. Hayden is the hero in this one. He is a side character that you see most specifically in Carnage, and let me tell you, when I was reading Carnage, I was obsessed with him. I was like, this one's going to be mine. And then when she announced that he is the hero for this one, I'm so excited for this book. If you know anything about Chantal Tessier's books, they are absolutely unhinged and wild, dark, spicy, messed up, crazy, all the triggers. I love them. They're so much fun, and I'm really, really looking forward to this one. Honestly, I don't really know that much about the premise. It's this like secret society with all these lords that obviously are all these men with a lot of power, and then the women like get to be their ladies, whatever. And then Carnage, where Hayden works, is like the prison for all of the lords, people that like death is too good for them. So obviously a very dark place, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this book. I've been waiting for it to come out, thinking that this will be the one to bust my slump, and now that I'm kind of out of that, I'm just ready to read this and keep it going. Next up, so actually I'm currently reading this one right now, so I will actually probably finish it by the end of the month, but I wanted to include it anyways because quite frankly, I want to feel accomplished when I can check the little box off, and that is Secret Lucidity by E.K. Blair. So I had Tessa over on Instagram. She DM'd me, so if you're watching, thank you so much for this recommendation. This book, when I went over to Goodreads, so Tessa DM'd me and she was like, hey girl, this is like an emotional student teacher book, but also coach athlete as well. Like, I think you'd love it. And I was like sold, running over to Goodreads. And then when I got over to Goodreads, I realized that I had this marked as one to read, but from like years ago. So I had obviously completely forgot about it. So I took a little screenshot and I was like, I'll get to it. And then over the weekend, I was like, I need a new book to read. I started this one. I couldn't put it down when I started reading it. I like binged the first 30% of it. I'm obsessed with it. It's so good. So our heroine in this one, Cam, she is a high school swimmer, and she's a really, really great swimmer, and her dad is her swim coach and also like a teacher at her school. And literally right off the bat, there's a tragedy that strikes, and basically Cam's entire world is flipped upside down. And then that is when she kind of becomes entangled with Coach Andrews, or David or Davis. I can't remember what his name is, but he's the assistant swim coach and also then her new English teacher for her senior year. But it's already so emotional. Like I already feel so connected in with Cam, and I'm literally only 30% into this book. I'm obsessed with it so far. Cannot wait to keep going. E.K. Blair's writing is beautiful. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about this one. Like this one is another one that I feel like has helped kind of like keep pulling me even further out of my slump. So thank you again to Tessa for telling me to read it, because who knows how long that like would have taken me to find in my Goodreads TBR, or if I ever even would have again, because I swear, stuff gets buried and it's just like no man's land down there. Next up, I want to read Fearless Like Us by Kristen Becker-Ritchie. This is the 9th book in the Like Us series. I am slowly but surely making my way through. Read the first 5 books last year and have kept going with the series this year. And this one follows Sully, Banks, and Akara. So it's an MFM. And of course, it's bodyguard romances. Banks and Akara, both bodyguard for Sully, who is the daughter of Reich and Daisy from the Addicted/Calloway Sisters series. So it is a 2nd generation series. This is the 3 of theirs. This is their 2nd book. So obviously you can't just jump into this one without reading at least Wild Like Us and, probably some of the other books for like further background, but whatever. So I won't really get into the synopsis of this one, but I just really love this world. I love Kristen Becker-Ritchie's characters. They just feel very real. I always know I'm gonna have a good time whenever I read these books. I will say the Like Us series has not, except for Alphas Like Us and Tangled Like Us. Those two books are god tier, and they are up there, I'd say, with like Kiss the Sky, Hot House Flower, Thrive, like those ones from the Addicted series that I love so much. I will say the rest of the Like Us series, while I've loved it, has not topped the Parents books, but these have been a lot of fun. I love the bodyguard aspect, and especially the cliffhanger that Wild Like Us ended on. I'm really excited to see how this one ends up playing out, specifically with Reich, you know, her dad. I have a feeling he's not gonna be too happy. Next up, switching it up a little bit, I want to read Omega's Obsession by Sarah Blue. So I read, which obviously I'll talk about in my wrap up, that I think I'm gonna have up on Friday. I don't actually know. Whatever. I read a Hermione fan fiction that was also an Omega verse, and I have read like a handful of Omega verses, but it's been a very long time. And after reading that one, I was kind of like, this is just a fun premise, right? Like maybe I should go back and find another. And there was one, I read the first book in this series by Sarah Blue. It was like a novella, and I was like, well, let me go back and see like what some of the other ones are. And the second one sounds really good. So I think it's a brother's best friend, but then it's also like MMMF. I can't quite remember the premise now, but I think maybe it's like second chance-ish, where like our heroine, she kind of liked the hero, but then he maybe like rejected her, but then now as she's like Omega status and he's Alpha, then like somehow they find their way back to each other. I don't quite remember, but if you know anything about like the Omegaverse, it's just like, right, it's just kind of like a fun time. And after reading the Hermione one, I was kind of like, let's throw another one into the mix. Why not? So I put this one on here. We'll see if I get around to it. Let's see. Then I have a student teacher one that Cheyenne recently read, and she really enjoyed it. And she was like, here's a new student teacher, because you know I'm always looking for new student teacher books. And this one is The Muse by L.M. Halloran. So this one is a professor and his TA. So I don't know what class it is, but our professor, you know, is professing, and then our heroine is his TA. And yeah, it's a forbidden romance. Quite frankly, I don't know what else goes on inside of it, because like I didn't really want to ask Cheyenne too many details, because like I don't want to know that. I just kind of want to be able to go in and see, like honestly, especially with student teacher trope, all I need to know is that it is student teacher. I don't really need to be told much more to get me to read it. So I'm looking forward to it. Also, Cheyenne said that he is the one who like doesn't really care, but she is like, we can't be doing this because it'll like affect both of their careers. We'll see, because with student teacher, I want them to fight it. I want them to be like, we cannot be doing this because they can't and they shouldn't, and I want to see that struggle. I want to see that angst. So I hope that this has that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a go. Next, I'm still kind of in my fanfiction mode. However, I'm switching from Hermione fanfiction right now to Raylo, and I have Tactical Surrender, which I couldn't remember the author's name, and I like had it downloaded on my Kindle, so I'll need to go back and see who this is. But it's a Raylo fanfiction that I got off of AO3. And here's the thing, I love Raylo. I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars so much. I honestly need to find like some more like Anakin Padme ones, because I don't think I have not ever read one, but I have dipped my toe into Raylo before, especially with some published books. There's a lot of Raylo fanfiction that are traditionally published books. Hello, Love Hypothesis. So I've dipped my toe in, but I haven't really gone like full end with like Raylo on like AO3. So I downloaded a whole bunch, and this is the one that intrigued me the most. I started it already, and this one is, so it's post The Last Jedi, but before Rise of Skywalker, or I think maybe like Rise of Skywalker. It does not like exist in this world here, and which I'm totally fine with. And so it's after the Battle of Crate, and like Rey is off finding Force sensitive people to like recruit, you know, for the Resistance. But obviously like Kylo Ren is winning, but they're also having these like Force vision connections with each other, the Force FaceTimes, you know, that they had in Last Jedi. And she realizes that like he's going to win, and the only thing that she can kind of do is to like sacrifice herself and like be captured by him to try to like infiltrate from the side or something, I think. I don't know. I'm really excited for it. It's promising so far. I'm liking the beginning of it. I just kind of like took a break to read some like other shorter books, just because I had come off of reading 2 long Hermione fanfictions, and I'm like, I need to feel accomplished and like reading something quicker. I'm excited about it. We will see. We will see. Next up, I want to read The Penalty Box by Odette Stone. So this is the 3rd book in the Vancouver Wolves series. And again, these first 2 books I loved so much, and then I kind of like fell out of the mood for whatever reason and never finished books 3 and 4. But this one, I think it's also like mafia ties, which I'm really excited for. I don't know. I just need more hockey in my life. So I'm pretty sure our hero in this one, or like our heroine, is a personal assistant, and then she ends up, I don't know if she ends up being his personal assistant or if they end up in some sort of an arrangement. And I think there might be another trope in here that I don't know if it's like widely known or if someone kind of like accidentally spoiled it to me, and now like I don't want to accidentally spoil it to you, but I think that maybe comes into play in here, which like I don't know how I feel about, but we'll see. We'll give it a go, just because I loved both of the first 2 books so much of this, and I really like Odette Stone's writing of hockey romances, because I feel like there's a good balance of like other stuff in it, but also hockey and like the sports aspect. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm putting it on the TBR. I don't know how many times I've put that on the TBR though, so like we'll see. Next up, of Heartbreak and Harmony by Britt Benson. So y'all know normally I do not read books in the genre that I'm writing. So like when I'm writing Rockstar, like when I've been writing Whispering Nothings, I have not been reading Rockstar romances. However, I'm kind of on a little bit of a hiatus with Take What You Want. No formal announcements yet, just kind of like need a bit of a breather. Oh, there's a spider on the windowsill. Oh, there's a spider. Okay, we gotta pause. Oh, I gotta take care of that. I hate spiders. I hate spiders more than any other bug. Oh, I don't invite your energy into my house. Even I was at the craft store last night, and because I was getting some thread for a cross stitch project, and I was going through all of the Halloween decorations because of course Halloween is my favorite season to decorate for. But there is one Halloween decoration that you will never catch me dead having in my apartment anywhere, and that is anything to do with a spider. You will not catch a single spider decoration in here. Like, it's so bad that even like Krista and Becca Ritchie's book, like the Dishonestly Yours one with the spider drip on it, I don't even want that book on my shelves, quite frankly. Like I just don't want it. I would say that I do have arachnophobia. And I think there's that one book, The Dark Romance, that everyone talks about, and everyone is always like, you should read this. Oh, who is it by? Oh, I can't even think of the name of it. But I can picture the cover of it, and there's a discreet cover that has a giant tarantula on it. Oh, Little Stranger or something. Is by like Lee Rivers. Is that the one? But I think there's like spider play in there. I cannot read it. I cannot read it. That might be my new favorite dark romance, and I will never know because I cannot read that. As I was saying, normally I don't read Rockstar romances while I'm writing Rockstar romance, but right now I am, as I said, taking a brief break. So when I read the synopsis of this book, I was like, I really, really want to read this. And I was like, okay, while I'm taking my brief break, you know, maybe this will like also reinvigorate me with Rockstar romances right now. Who knows? But this one is the second in a series, but it's like a standalone. And I think it's Second Chance. So our heroine and hero, he's obviously like this rock star. And they, I think, shared like a week together or like a few nights together. And it was like amazing, whatever. But then at the end, I think he like broke her heart, or like, I don't know how like much he broke her heart, but you know, like betrayed her, messed her up, whatever. And then years later they get like reconnected, and she ends up, and like he doesn't remember her, and she like hates him, but I think that it ends up being forced proximity somehow. I don't really know. It sounded really good though, and like I said, I love my rock stars. And you know, since I'm not writing one right now, or just on break from writing one right now, maybe I need to just read one instead. Next up, I want to read Ward D by Frida McFadden. So I have read now 2 Frida McFadden books. This is a thriller. This is not a romance, which y'all know I don't normally read. However, a thriller kind of helped pull me out of my reading slump. And this was an excerpt at the end of the one that I read, which I'll talk about in my wrap up. But this one had like a few chapters at the end, and I was like, oh, this sounds really good. And it's also on Kindle Unlimited, which I really like. But this one, our heroine signs up to work. Hi, Rennie. You want to say hi? You want to tell the people how little of a help you were with the spider? Hi, Bubby. Well, I wouldn't let them get it anyways because I wouldn't want them to accidentally get hurt. Right? Do you want to say hi? Oh, you are sweet boy. You're so cute. So anyways, this one, our heroine, she ends up signing up to be like she a nurse or a ward? I don't know, something in like a prison. And it turns out that one of the inmates there was like her high school sweetheart that she was kind of like responsible for sending to prison maybe. I don't know. It sounds good. And also Nikki and Sam have both read it and really liked it. So we'll see. I'm liking the vibes that I've been getting from the other 2 books that I read from Frida McFadden. So I'm gonna keep that going with Ward D. Next, Tempted by Deception by Rena Kent. So this is the second book in the Deception trilogy, and it is not a standalone because they are all Adrian and Leah's story, so you would have to read Vow of Deception first in order to read this one, but it's a mafia arranged marriage romance where basically Adrian is the head of the Russian, or not the head, high up, I think, in the Russian mafia. If he's not the head, I don't remember, whatever. High up. Basically, his wife gone. So he spots Leah out on the street. Leah's homeless. And he's like, hey, you are a doppelganger for my wife. I need you to come and pretend to be my wife because my wife is no longer here. And she's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And he's like, actually, you're basically like framed for murder if not. So like you can either go to jail or you can come with me. So she ends up coming with him and being his wife. And there's a big cliffhanger at the end of book 1. And I was like, yes. This is what I needed with this story, is this like twist. And okay, the garbage people are here, so I'm gonna have to pause. But anyways, I really loved the first book and I want to keep going with the series, but I couldn't go back to back. But now I'm kind of back in the mood for it, so I'm putting Tempted by Deception on this month. Okay, they are finally going. That was a long time. That was a long little break here, but we're down to our last 4 books. So next up, I have Forgive Me, Father by Katerina St. Clair. So this one is a new release. I think it comes out literally like September 30th. So I was kind of like, do I even want to put it on this TBR when I'd probably read it in October? But then I'm like, hey, why not put it on this one and October? And then when I read it, I get 2 check marks. Smart. So this one is a priest romance, a forbidden priest romance. So our heroine in this one, I think she's been like a very devout, Catholic person. And that is until then the new priest comes to town. And, their friendship kind of grows into something more like forbidden. I don't know, the cover of this one, first of all, obsessed. I can't remember how I heard of this one either, because this is an author that I've never heard of, and like I genuinely can't remember how I heard about this one, because then when I went on Goodreads, like none of my like friends had even marked it as like want to read or anything, and I was like, how have I not heard about this forbidden priest romance that's coming out? So I'm really excited about this one. I cannot wait for it, because you guys know I just love forbidden romances. I also really am drawn to like religious themes in books, like priest, sinner, unfurl, that sick love, not necessarily like religious themes in terms of like, that's their like Sunday routine, but kind of more like trauma themes. I just enjoy that in books. Next up, I have my last 2 actually, until we get into my little TBR jar, is 2 fantasy romances. So Bite the Woman That Feeds by Penelope Barsetti. So this one was one of the ones that you guys had given me months back when I did my like reacting to books that you guys want me to read, and someone had suggested this one. And normally, here's the thing, I'm not a huge vampire person, but reading the blurb of this book completely sold me on it. I'm kind of in the mood for like a fantasy romance. Oh, what was that, kitties? Even both of them were like, what? Anyways, I'm kind of like in the mood for that, and especially I kind of want to give vampires a go. I kind of want to give them a little bit of a go, because I'm kind of getting in my like Twilight mood as it starts to get kind of fall-y, even though today we have like a heat warning, so like it's not fall yet. But so I think our heroine in this one, she is a vampire, and a vampire king like maybe she's like arranged to marry someone else, but then like a vampire king shows up and then he wants her to be his. I don't quite remember, but I just remember reading the blurb on that video and I was like, this sounds amazing, so I want to read that. And A Ship of Bones and Teeth by Karina Halley. So this one is like a dark Little Mermaid retelling, but obviously like make it spicy. Pirate romance. Again, I couldn't tell you much about the blurb. I've had this one on my TBR for a long time, and again, just as I was scrolling through, I was like, I'm kind of in a fantasy mood, so I'm gonna put it on the TBR here. And as I've said before, I've read one book by Karina Halley and I absolutely loved it, and I've been wanting to read more from her backlist, so I am including this one for this month. And last but not least, as I've been doing before, is I have all of my physical books in here that I have on my shelves that I have not read. That one of these will take my last spot on my TBR every month now. Have I read either of the last 2 that I pulled? No. But it's I'm trying, and also my slump. I do blame my slump. So we will see and actually, yeah, why did I just look in there? Because we want this to be authentic. Okay, here we go. What do we have? Soul of a Witch by Harley LaRue. Okay, actually, I'm so excited about that one. Soul of a Witch by Harley LaRue, which is the third book in the Souls trilogy. That is the last Harley LaRue book I have to read before I'm completely caught up on her backlist. I love Harley LaRue so much. They've written some of my favorite books, like The Losers Duet, absolutely love. Her Soul to Take, love. And Soul of a Witch is the third and final book in that trilogy, and it is the last one that I have to read. So I will put that one down. Also kind of perfect because I'm kind of in like the fantasy mood a little bit. So, I'm actually really excited that I drew that. Not that I want to be excited for anything else, but I just feel like that's like, yeah, I'm happy to add that to the TBR right now. So anyways, I'll just stick you right there so I remember. So anyways, that is my September TBR. Like I said, I think I'm gonna have my wrap up on Friday, but also then that seems kind of early. So actually, I don't know. Maybe I'll do something in between and then maybe have my wrap up next Tuesday. I don't know. But also, like I said, I do have a long weekend, and I don't really know if I'm gonna feel like filming on like over my long weekend. I might just want to have like no work whatsoever on my long weekend. So we will see. I don't know. You'll get a video when you get a video, and you'll see it when you see it. So anyways, that is it for today's video, and I will see you when I see ya.